Hi, welcome to Knitting on the Rocks. If you joined us last time, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name's Jen, and these are my friends Becky and Jen. And we're here to talk about our projects, knitting and other crafts, and hope you'll enjoy chatting and listening along with us.
Right. So
today, we're drinking, in the festive of the season, we are drinking the Jingle Titch Spritz. This is from... I really enjoy making cocktails. My friends enjoy drinking my cocktails.
Always.
I don't invent recipes though. I get them from the interwebs. So this cocktail was created by Caitlin Stewart. She's based in Canada, and she goes by Likeable Cocktails. So you can follow her along in our show notes down below. And it's kind of if a mimosa and a French 75 had a baby, because it's clementine juice, lemon juice, gin, and simple syrup, and then you put some bubbles on it, so it's festive.
It's festive. Although, no rosemary.
No rosemary.
Cheers. Cheers. The rosemary's a running drink with or a running joke with us with our drinks. One sip and I can't talk. Because, everywhere on Instagram, I feel like people are putting rosemary in their Christmas cocktails. And while rosemary is a lovely herb, it does not belong in every cocktail. So
We have omitted the rosemary.
We have omitted
garnish.
the rosemary garnish. So, but
it's very good.
And is her recipe on her Instagram?
Yes.
Is that where you found it?
She's got some great cocktails. They're fun. They're crowd pleasers, and she gives really good directions. So definitely give her a follow.
She's a she. I love it. Female bartender.
She's very cool.
Yeah.
So have a look at Caitlin's feed, because if you like a good cocktail.
Yeah. Great.
So that brings us to our next segment, which is Darn It. We've decided that maybe sometimes we might need to correct things that happened in previous episodes. So in this version of Darn It, we are going to talk about the name of our podcast.
Which, if you were with us last time, I said, welcome to Knit 3 Together and Pour. And then we said, just kidding, we're knitting on the rocks.
What happened there?
Oops. It took us a little while to record and post our first video. We are podcast newbies.
So new.
So, first of all, you had a note of thanks for everybody.
That's right, I did. Before we talk about Darn It, we thanks for all the feedback. We love getting your comments. So if you're watching us, give us a comment, subscribe, give it a like. We're really new at this, and so any feedback on how things sound or how things look or what questions you have for us, we'll promise to revisit it in the next recording so that we can clear up anything. But thanks for your patience while we figure this out.
Yes. So our name it took us a little while to figure it out because we're new and we're figuring out recording and editing and uploading and everything. And we had checked to make sure that the name we wanted to use was available. But in between our recording and posting, somebody else started a podcast on YouTube called Knit 3 Together, which I have not had a chance to watch yet, but, wish them all the luck and glad you grabbed the name. It's a great name. So we quickly scrambled to come up with another name and settled on Knitting on the Rocks because... Knitting on the rocks. But also, we're in Rhode Island, and I like the kind of nautical feel of, there's a rocky shoreline here.
Rocky coast.
So
it fits nice.
So we have some knitting rocky stories.
Exactly. Knitting on the rocks. We'll get to that because it was a rocky weekend around here. So anyway, you'll be able to find us at Knitting on the Rocks. Do you want to talk about our Instagram?
If you can follow along too on our Instagram, it's Knitting on the Rocks Pod, where we'll post things that are happening in between episodes, and we'll announce when we've got a new recording going up. So give that a follow so you can keep up with what's happening.
So darn it.
Darn it. So, and we do have a microphone this time, so hopefully the audio will be a little bit better than last time if you struggled with it a little bit. But one of the other things that I talked about in our last episode was the difference between an Italian bind-off and a tubular bind-off. And I wasn't exactly sure, but I did know that when I do my bind-off, I do setup rows. Well, after our episode, and I looked it up, and I probably should have looked it up before, but sometimes these things come up in conversation. We don't know that we're actually going to talk about it, and so we can't prepare for everything. But long story short is their Italian bind-off and a tubular bind-off are very, very similar. The actual bind-off is the same. The difference being on a tubular bind-off, you do setup rows, and you can do 2 or 4 setup rows is what I typically have seen. And that actually, the setup rows makes a tube, which is probably why it's called a tubular bind-off. So we'll post a link in the show notes to the tubular bind-off with the setup rows, and hopefully that will help clear up any confusion if you had any confusion. You may already know that. You may be screaming at the screen saying, what is she talking about? It's the opposite. But anyways, so sorry about that, and hopefully I didn't mess anybody up with my sort of backwards description.
We all learned that, though, because we talked about the Italian bind-off, we talked about a sewn bind-off, and the tubular bind-off, and trying to figure out what's
the difference. What is the difference? And I think a sewn bind-off and Italian bind-off is the same, and I think that the tubular is exactly the same, except for it has some setup rows. It makes like a little tube, and that's usually what I do. I like to do 2 setup rows typically, and I just like the look of it on 1 by 1. I don't try to do it on a 2 by 2 or any other kind of combination of.
Great. So. We all have our preferred cast on, bind off, and all of that, right? Like, you know, I know people love and will only do the long tail cast on, and I rarely do a long tail cast on.
I do that quite often. If I'm not doing a 1 by 1, I will do a long tail cast on most of the time.
Do you have a favorite?
I like a long tail.
Okay.
But I think I've just been sticking with what's comfortable. Like, we're going to talk about finished objects, and I'm still considering whether, like, I need to redo a neckline on a sweater because I'm not sure. I think you get a really nice finish, but sometimes I'm impatient to finish a project, and finishing work is not necessarily my favorite part.
Yeah.
So I tend to do, like, my fallback, like, whatever's
I'm same.
Yeah, so.
And I think on socks, I think at one point, Becky, you told me to do a knitted cast on for socks to make it stretchier.
I probably was telling you to do the German twisted cast on, which is like a long tail, but it has an extra twist in it. So there's a little bit more yarn, so it's a little more stretchy at the top.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've done that. I think I have done that cast on once, but I don't know whether it was for socks or not. I don't remember. I think sometimes when I do my socks, I do a knitted cast on, and supposedly I think that makes it a little bit stretchier than a long tail. But do you do long tail for your socks?
I do long tail.
Because you knit a lot of socks.
I do a long tail for my socks. I have done the twisted. It's just one of those things where I have to look at the video every time, and sometimes I just want to get going because it's kind of a lazy knitter. I use the knitted cast on when I need structure. The sweater I'm going to talk about today it call for that, and some other designers I use frequently will call for that when something needs not a seam, but it needs to be kind of a structurally important part of the garment, usually a neckline, so that it stays put. Yeah, I could be wrong about that, but I think that's why.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'll use a German twisted if I'm going to be knitting in the round.
Okay.
And I tend to use a knit cast on or a cable cast on if it's going to be flat.
Okay. So, right. And so I guess maybe I'm saying knitted cast on, but I think probably what I mean is a cable cast on. So cable cast on, is that when you put your stitch in between, your needle, in between like the first and second stitch, and then knit and then put it back on the needle?
Yep.
Okay, so that is what I'm talking about. I get my terminology backwards all the time. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what it's called. So, I guess, what did you say that was? Cable cast on. So is a cable cast on supposed to be a little bit stretchier than a regular a long tail? Or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay.
For me, I don't think it would my long tail cast ons tend to be very tight, which is why I don't do them. I don't know. I'm just, because I can settle into it and I go so fast that I think I don't pay attention to we've joked before, Becky, you just need to relax. And that's not me. And long tail, it's how fast can I go? And then it's so tight. A cable cast on I like because it's pretty. It's a little bit decorative.
Yeah.
Like if somebody is this close to my knitting, which they never are, but
Right.
unless I go, look how pretty.
Yeah, I know. To another knitter, usually,
That might
right?
make it weird.
It would be- yes, and I try to maintain normal social boundaries.
Right. So I guess, do you want to jump? So we jump into some actual knitting or knitted items.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that.
sure.
All right. So we want to start with what we're wearing.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
What do you wear, Becky?
Yeah.
What am I wearing? I am wearing the reversible trellis cowl, and I will take it off and hold it up in a second, which it's a double layer cowl. It took 2 different yarns. This is by Marnie Kindness, and Marnie is a knitter and designer here in Rhode Island. She also is the co-owner of Explore Knitting Tours. So if anybody's been on any of her trips, she designed this. And I love it. It's like super cozy.
It's
and
very pretty.
I wore this today because this is one of my holiday knits, because I don't have a beautiful holiday sweater. But this black and white yarn, or black and multicolor yarn, is Play It Life Fibers. It's her Twinkle Lights colorway. And there's a lace pattern in here that you can't really see. And I knew you wouldn't be able to see it when I did it, but I wanted it to look like Christmas lights at night. So, and then there's this just really pretty trellis pattern on the inside layer. So let me just show this up, hold this up so people can see it. So that is, ooh, and I'm right there at the seam where I changed everything. But so that's I wear that as the inside because it has cashmere on it. So
Nice.
it's super cozy. And then this is the front. So so that's what I'm wearing, is Marnie's reversible trellis cowl.
So pretty.
And there's, I don't know, if you lean just a little bit, I have some of her Twinkle Lights in the bulky right back here that I'm waiting to do something.
Now, does that have stellina in it?
This one does not. There
Okay.
are ones that
'Cause
has
I think
stellina.
I have a
Yeah.
skein of that yarn, and it has stellina in it. And I started a muscle burrow hat, and it's still on the needles, and it may get finished at some point in the future.
So-
we'll see.
And can I just brag a little bit? Because I have the pair I wear. So, hey, everybody, I have magnets on my glasses. Look, I have Christmas light glasses on today, too. So,
Those
had
are
a
cool.
theme.
So fun.
Very fun. Yeah.
my elf legs.
You are super festive.
It was Christmas. This is my favorite season to celebrate. I love the jewelry. I love the colors. I love the music. I'm like
All in.
all in. So, great. Do you want to talk about your sweater?
Yes, this is it's the only Christmas sweater I have, but it is Branches and Buds by Susan B. Anderson. I just did it in Christmas colors. So you'll remember her original. It's a classic, Susan B. Anderson. It's been around a while. It's in the photos on the project page. It's gray with white branches, so it's already kind of wintry. So I just went with this is a Brocal. I think it's the Lannis Light. I got a skein yarn shop here in Rhode Island at East Greenwich, and then this is an alpaca lace weight that I doubled, and I don't remember the brand. Apologizing. I'm going to get better at my project pages now that we're podcasting. And I just held the lace weight double with the paillettes from Lang, also a skein yarn shop purchase, so that you just get a little light. I don't know if it's showing.
Yeah, maybe. Are you able to step forward just a tiny bit so you can see maybe the sparkles?
Yep, there it goes.
It's really, really pretty.
Yeah. So it just got just a little bit of sparkle, which makes it extra festive.
Yeah,
so,
it's really nice.
Super fun knit.
You added the little holly berries to it too, right?
No, she calls
Oh,
for that, and I think you can bobble them, but I'm not a big fan of bobbles, so I embroidered them on.
It looks nice though that way too with the embroidery, yeah, because that would be a pain to sort of do a bobble each time, right?
Right. So
It looks nice like that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was quick. I love a good color. I love color work, so that.
And your nails match.
And my nails match. Let's see if I can get my nails on camera. With a little bit of
Yeah.
festive greenery.
And sparklies. Yeah, it's pretty.
Nails by Nancy. We'll have to
Nails
tag
by
her.
Nancy.
I don't have nails by Nancy, so I won't show my nails.
But you were wearing a gorgeous Lunenburg. I love that pattern. That's so good.
This is the Lunenburg sweater. It is not really festive, but the reason I wore it is because this was my 1/1/25 cast on. So I maybe 1/125 was the first time I decided I was going to do that. I did cast on a sweater in 24, like late 23, early, close to 1/124. And then last year I decided that I would cast on a sweater on January 1st and I would see how fast I could knit it. And I think I knit this one in about 6 weeks, so I didn't finish it in the month of January. But I love this sweater. I wear it quite often. It's very comfortable. I ordered it off of a kit from the Woolly Thistle, which is out of Lebanon, New Hampshire, I believe. And so I did not pick the colors, but I really love the colors. I think these potentially are the original colors of the sweater. The sweater is by Savory Knits. And it's just, I really like it a lot. I will say that I ordered it as a kit and I did do a gauge swatch and potentially there was supposed to be enough yarn to finish it. And there was, but I have a picture on my project page in Ravelry. I literally had about this much of the gray yarn left after I did my my bind offs on the sleeve.
Little yarn chicken.
Yeah, it was a little yarn chicken.
So I'm just curious.
It worked.
How big was the swatch?
Oh, I don't remember, but I mean my swatches. Yeah, I say swatch, but I really don't. And it's kind of a joke between us because my swatches are maybe about this big.
Okay, so
enough for me to get an idea of like, will this fit? I definitely am a person too. Like, I'll start a sweater and get like maybe this far in and be like, oh, it's going to be too small or it's going to be too big, and I'll rip it out. So, I guess technically that could be my swatch.
Yeah, if you're willing to rip out, then yeah, I think that's fine.
But I'm like what you said. Like, I'm impatient. I don't want to take the time to do the swatch. I just want to start knitting the sweater and. So I think I do this little tiny swatch to say like, oh, I like the fabric, or I think maybe it's going to work, and pick a size that I think will work and go from there. And I would say 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, I'm pretty on. Mm-hmm. And then, a couple of times I'm like, that's not going to work. And I end up ripping it out, which I actually have something today that I'll show you later that potentially I think I'm gonna rip it out. Anyways, that's that. What else, ladies?
Well, why don't you talk about that sweater now?
Okay.
Because you're talking about swatching, because you did some swatch. You actually did swatch that and made decisions based on the swatch for that sweater.
So this sweater is called. Let me find it first. And what's it called? It's called the Harvest Flower Sweater by Jessie Mae Designs. And it's a recent published pattern, so it's new. So that's my problem too, is I spend too much time, I think, on Instagram. And I see like a new pattern, and I'm like, ooh, I love that. I want to make it.
Everybody likes shiny new things.
Yes. And I really love the sweater. And my other thing is that I have a lot of yarn and I have a lot of stash. And when I saw the sweater, I looked at it quickly, the pattern. It said that it was a DK weight. And I thought, oh, I have the perfect yarn for this sweater, and which is a DK weight. And I did a swatch. And honestly, I should have known then because my swatch did not come out. Number one, the pattern calls for size 9 needle. The yarn that they use is Farmer's Daughter. I guess technically it's a DK weight. I've never used that particular yarn, so I don't really know anything about the yarn itself. But on a size 9 needle, you're supposed to get 18 stitches over the 4 inches. And I was, number one, started off with a 9 needle, and this yarn just was not going to work with a 9 needle. So I went down to a size 8 needle, and I got about 20 stitches over my 4 inches, not 18. So then what I normally do is I look at the pattern and I see how many stitches are around the body, and I do the math and I figure out what size. So long story short, I decided to make a size bigger than what I would normally make because my gauge was small. And I started. I did a swatch and I said, okay, this will work. And I started it. And I got this far. And it's hard to tell, but there's big flowers. And there's also very long floats. So I like to do color work, but I'm definitely a person that likes to carry, like to tack down my yarn as I'm working. I don't really like long floats. So I started off by doing that. And I didn't like the way it was working because of the tan yarn, and I think because of the DK weight, the pink was showing through. And so I ripped that out and I started over again. And I looked up the jacquard ladderback.
Ladderback jacquard.
Okay, ladderback jacquard technique, because that is a technique that you can use to carry long floats. And so I did that the second time around, which you can see.
They look great.
There's my float, and the whole point of the, what's it called? Ladderback jacquard is that it doesn't, you catch the yarn, but you don't attach it to your main color.
Yeah, you basically you decide where you want that float to get connected, and you add a stitch. And it's really important to wrap your yarn. You're going to purl that stitch as you come around, because that's going to disappear. It's going to actually
ribbing.
It's going to recede into the back of the work, but as long as you wrap the color.
Yeah, so when you put an extra stitch on where you want the ladderback to be, then when you come around to it, you bring your other color or colors to the front, you purl, and then you bring your colors back to the back, and you keep going, and you keep that stitch on there until you're finished with your ladderback, and then on the last pass you knit it with the next stitch,
so you decrease it,
so that you're getting rid of it again, and it goes behind the stitch, the main color stitch, so you don't see it. And we'll put a tutorial down in the show notes if anybody's interested in looking at it. So I did do that. The next thing about this sweater, though, is that there's, in between the flowers, there's circles of color, and you can see I've started it with the yellow. And it's just making it more difficult with my ladderbacks. And also, I just don't really like the way it's looking. So I don't know. I don't know if I should continue. Part of me was that I was going to continue to, like, right here, like, finish the color work part of it. Because once you finish the color work, the rest of the sweater is just plain stockinette. And so part of me was like, well, maybe I will finish the color work and then block it, like Becky suggested, and try it on. And maybe I will do that. But if I do it, it's not going to be until after the first of the year. But let us know what you think. Should I continue? Should I just call it a day? And part of me feels like it should really be done with a worsted weight yarn. And this is not worsted weight.
Yeah, I want to see it blocked.
Okay. All right, then I'll just keep going on with it. And
I cut my sweater for you. You can block that.
Yes, she cut her sweater. She cut her sweater for me.
Shots fired.
I will. Yeah, exactly. I will continue on for the good of the order. I will continue on, and we'll address it in January. I'll see how much I can get done in the month of December.
It's funny that you're doing ladderback jacquard, and like just a couple days before she said that, you had sent me a pair of socks that you were doing to learn ladderback jacquard.
Yeah, one of my works in progress is a sock. It's a free pattern, and we'll talk about it. But you're the one.
And then, but like a week before that, I was like, I want to knit in the new year a sweater called Call of the Wild by Patrick Griffith, and he just published it. It's his first design, but it's going to be great for my brother-in-law who lives in Vermont, and this pattern has a lot of mountain peak kind of things, but he's suggested using ladderback jacquard that I'd never heard of, and I mentioned to you guys, and I was like, do you think I need to learn that, or can I just do stranded knitting? And we were like, yeah, you can just strand it. Next thing I know, they're all off ladderback jacquarding on me. Leaving me in the dust.
Yeah, you should definitely do it. Do the ladderback
jacquard. It really is. It's one of those techniques where it's got a fancy name, so it's intimidating, right? Yeah. So you're good. If you've never knit it before, you're just kind of like, ooh, ladderback jacquard. But we're gonna link Alex Bird is a designer. And she does a lot of, I think it's Estonian knitting, and she has an awesome tutorial on how this works. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. And this, I'm working on some mistletoe socks. Let me find the right bag.
But while you're looking for that, do you feel like there are techniques that, like, all of a sudden everybody's doing, and then they go away, or like there's a trendy technique.
because-
And I feel like ladder back jacquard might be one of those things right now.
And maybe it's just because it's follows like a design phase of now there's maybe a lot of designs that are coming out that could use that technique, and so it becomes popular, or designers hear about the technique and think, oh, I want to design something that uses that technique. Now this particular sweater by Jessie Mae Design, she does not talk about the ladder back jacquard at all. She just says that she's very comfortable with long floats and that she feels like the floats that are in this particular sweater aren't necessarily problematic. And I don't necessarily disagree with her. It's just a comfort level, I guess, for me of like not having huge floats.
I have a sweater with long floats, that Carlita sweater that I knit with the lang yarn. It's the you always say it's the favorite sweater. That's got a floral pattern on it. We'll put a picture here somewhere. And when I put that on, though, I did long floats, and I'm kind of proud of my tension when I'm knitting color work. So it doesn't pull or anything, but I have to be super careful when I put it on that I don't snag those floats. And so I think the next time I knit that, because I've always wanted to knit that again, I'll try ladder backing that, because there really are some pretty long floats.
Do you want to show us your sock?
You know what? To be honest, there's not a lot to show, and we'll put, like I said,
I'll
we'll
put a picture, yeah.
Our fancy editor will put a picture of this pattern. It's a free pattern in Ravelry. It's called the Mistletoe Socks, and it comes with charts. So if you want to float the yarn, you can go ahead. So there's charts for traditional float color work. I guess that's what you'd call it. And then also another chart that's got the ladder back, and it actually shows you exactly where to add the extra stitch so that you don't have to think about it. Like, so Jen planned where hers were going to go, but if you're new to it. The other thing I would suggest is that'd be a good plan if you want to try this and you know you're already a sock knitter. I would try to find
Does this go through the whole sock, or is it just the leg?
It's just the leg. Has some pretty green leaves, and you put in bobbles, which I'm probably going to embroider like I did here, because I don't bobble. I don't bobble.
Who has time to bobble?
I don't really want to bobble. But really, I thought what this caught my eye is we'd been talking about ladder back jacquard, and I thought, oh, that'd be a fun way to try it. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I hold it up. Kind of where you can kind of see where this is a ladder back stitch, where you can kind of see the wrap. I know when I block it, right, it's going to collapse, like pearls recede. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, if you want to try it, it is a free pattern and it's Christmassy, so it might be something you want to try. I think I'd like to try it on a hat where you're working with a thicker yarn and maybe a circular needle. So if you're new to sock knitting, maybe not, but
I know. I love how we, it's like, I'll just try it on a sock because it's a small project. I taught myself, I followed directions, but I learned entrelock on socks. Like, who learns entrelock in the round?
on this much circumference.
This much.
It's craziness.
But I love those socks.
Yeah, they are. I've seen them. They're cute.
Yeah. So, but I was like, I'll learn this, and then the next thing I knit was that Lady Eleanor that's in scarf style.
Oh my gosh, it's really big.
Which is like huge. Like, I knit this teeny tiny sock, and then
that was like super popular for a long time too. That shawl.
I knit Lady Eleanor though for the fringe, because it had that diamond, like you knotted it, so that it made that like web fringe. That was why I wanted it. But gorgeous. While we're talking about color work, I'm going to show a hat that I knit. So I think I mentioned last time that it is the season of hats for holiday knitting, and I was knitting this for somebody for a gift. So I made this hat.
So pretty.
It's called the herringbone hat.
I like that a lot.
I think it might have been a free pattern on Ravelry, but I did not swatch. I was like, I've knit hats. This will be fine. The yarn is something Katya that I bought on that trip to France with my mother-in-law, and then we're going to have to add it to the show notes. I forgot to look it up. But the colorway is Love is Love is Love from Utopia. And it's one of their DK yarns. It's the yarn that I used for my pressed flowers. It's the leftover from that. And then, because I wanted to like make a pom-pom that would have the rest of the rainbow in it. And I was making this for somebody whose head is significantly larger than mine. My optometrist has told me that I have a child-size head. And the person I was making this for does not have a child-size head. So I got knitting along and I thought it was going to be fine. This hat barely fits me. Like, it's a little...
Can you put it on?
Can I try to?
Yeah.
Or you try it on, Jen.
Well,
I mean, it
the
looks big
recipient
enough.
is not a lot of hair.
Oh, it looks great.
Oh, no, I think it'll fit him.
You think it'll fit him?
I think it'll
Put
fit
your
I
head
think-
down.
I think it'll fit him. Look how
So
gorgeous that
everybody can
is.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
It
I
feels
had Mark
really-
try it on. I had my husband
Mark's
try it
got
on.
a big head.
You don't think that they have the same size head?
I don't know.
Why don't we're going to get them.
How about,
we're going to get them drunk and measure their heads.
Would you like a jingle tit spritz?
Cheers. Cheers.
This hat is gorgeous.
I love it, right? So,
It
but
feels
my,
so nice.
But my, I thought I was doing a good job of controlling my tension.
You
and
are,
it
but
looks
you're
like I
you're
did.
naturally going to have with color work less stretch,
Right.
right? Even I mean, like this looks so your tension is perfect on this. It did come out
But like
smaller
it was a
than you
free
intended.
pattern, and it was great to follow. I enjoyed it, but it's one size, and I understand that. Like, why are you going to work on the sizing for a free pattern, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I would have had to size it up if I had kind of thought about it. I
So
didn't do any of the math.
What do you think
but-
you're going to do? Are you going to knit it again and just make it another repeat?
Another repeat?
No, I'm
or-
going to keep it for me and make him something else.
All right.
Because
That
I
sounds
like this,
fair
and I
enough
would put
plan.
this on, but
it feels really nice. What's the I forget what's the base yarn?
something Katya.
Oh, Katya.
It's
okay.
Katya,
a little
and
bit
it's
of a
a
tweedy
DK.
business going
Yeah,
on.
but it's soft.
It's really nice to wear.
So, you know, so I thought I think I accidentally made myself a hat for Christmas, and I'm going to make him something else.
Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah, it is.
We give you permission to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. But so this, you know, I did not do ladder back jacquard, as you can see. I did.
You don't
I don't
need
think
to.
You don't
need
need
to
to
with that,
because there
'cause-
was no long floats. But I just wanted, since we're talking stranded, that
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I thought I would
So
put
pretty.
that in there. So, and I kind of hoped I was going to get through more of the rainbow, but I think that if I can use a lot of the ball that's left to make the pom-pom,
That'll be
It'll be really
nice.
It's going to
fun.
be gorgeous. Yeah, the pom-pom will
So-
be fun.
and maybe, I don't know, there are other people who have similar size heads to him that maybe I can get them
Or
to
you
try
can
it.
just
but if you
keep it
love
for
it-
yourself.
but
You
I do
love it.
kinda love
Yeah.
So you keep it.
We give you permission.
Yeah. So,
All right. Well, speaking of hats, I made a couple hats.
accessories out of stash and deep whips.
Deep stash.
Yeah, deep stash and deep whips. And so when I say I made a couple hats, I did make one hat from the beginning to the end, and over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And
Do you want me to hold it up while you talk about it?
yeah, this is the Broad Sea hat by Isolde Teague. It's a new pattern. It was part of her Knitworthy 9. She, right around the holidays, publishes like a series of patterns, and you pay for all of them, and she releases them one every couple of weeks, I think it is. And the pattern will be for sale by itself as of December 10th. So if you didn't want to purchase all of them, you can wait till December 10th if you're interested. But it's a 1x1 rib. And the cool thing about this pattern is that, similar to the Muscle Burrow, you do a gauge swatch. And then depending on what your gauge is, she has like sort of like charts, I'll tell you, that tells you how many stitches to cast on, what size needles to use, and the multiple sizes in one pattern. So I ended up making the adult medium, and I used Dream in Color Everlasting in the colorway Black Watch. And this yarn was a color of the month from Dream in Color back in 2012. So this yarn has been in my stash since 2012. And I really like the way it came out.
Yeah.
And I will put it on, and it fits me.
Super cute.
I had my
very
husband try it on,
Fits him.
and it fits him. And I made it for my youngest daughter's boyfriend for Christmas.
So, Liv, don't let him watch this.
Yeah. Don't let Wes watch this, Liv. And then, while I was on a hat kick, because while I was on a hat kick, I found this hat. And this is the Multnomah Falls hat. Did I say that right?
You
You did.
Okay. Multnomah Falls hat. And I started this hat on January 15th of 2022. we're coming up on almost 4 years ago. And I mean, when I look back at this, I have no idea what I was thinking. Anyways, this yarn that I'm using is Frankie Gray fibers, and it's fingering weight. And the pattern calls for a DK weight, so I held the fingering weight double to get the DK weight that I needed to. But the pattern clearly tells you that you need, I think, 250 yards. And Frankie Gray fibers fingering weight is 400 yards. And if I'm holding it double, that's only 200 yards. Mm-hmm. So imagine my confusion when I ran out of yarn. And I did. I ran out of yarn till when I was about right here. Mm-hmm. And it's hand-dyed yarn. Now, this was back in 2022 that I ran out of yarn, because I started it on January 15th, maybe sometime at the end of January or whatever is when I ran out of yarn. So I went online to buy another skein, and because it's hand-dyed, she didn't have any in stock. Then proceeded to have emails back and forth of, oh, are you going to dye this color again? Because if not, I'm going to have to rip it out. And they said, oh, yeah, we'll dye some more at some point. And they did eventually reach out to me and say, oh, we dyed some more. It's on there if you want to buy it. And I did. And so maybe a couple months later, another skein came in the mail. But by then, I had moved on. I was working on other stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to that. So anyways, I did get to it. I got to it this week. And honestly, what I did was I ripped back like maybe 10 rows, and then I alternated my skeins. And I don't really think you can tell. I mean, maybe if you look at it super closely, you could see that the top is slightly different than the bottom, but I don't think. No idea. I don't think it's enough.
I think it's so nicely variegated. They have beautiful colorways at Frankie Gray, and there's just enough variegation there that it's
really pretty. This color is called Royalty, I think, and anyways, beautiful. I really like it, and also it fits great. Mm-hmm. Now I made this. I think I was going to make this for me, and I don't know if I'll still keep it or if I'll give it to somebody else. But anyways,
really pretty hat.
I'm happy with it, and it was a great pattern.
Who's the designer? Did you say Multnomah Falls?
Multnomah Falls hat. Did I say? Hunter? No, it's not. Did I put it on here at all? We'll put it in the show notes, but let me see. Did I?
I don't think so.
Lisa Richardson. Nope, that's not it. So maybe I didn't put it. Maybe I forgot to write it down because I just finished this. So maybe I forgot to include it in our notes, our personal notes. But I will put it. I'll put it in the show notes, and I'll put a picture up here with the designer's name.
Great.
What else? Anything else going on?
I finished a sweater since we talked last.
Let's talk about it.
This is Hawley, Hawlui, and it is a pattern. The designer is in the show notes, but I spied this on display at Rhinebeck. It was in the Harrisville Design booth.
Sarah Solomon,
thank you.
Oh yeah.
So the yarn is
Nightshades?
We call these yarns nighttime, but that's not what they're called.
Nightshades.
This is, you know how friend groups have their own language? This is one of those things.
So this is Nightshades.
Nightshades.
By Harrisville Designs, and it's in the dashboard colorway. So it's Rhinebeck, right? So I wanted to get the free tote bag. So I bought a sweaters quantity yarn, but I didn't quite hit the $100 mark. So I love that Nightshades yarn, and I grabbed a couple skeins of that. I didn't have a plan for it, but when I got home, guess what? I already had 2 skeins of dashboard in my stash, and so and I had seen this pattern, and I thought, I'm gonna make that someday. Well, it turned out I had almost just enough. So another story. And we had gotten the skein of this is when we went to Indie Untangled, we got the goodie bag, and the swag bag had North Bay Fibers.
North Bay Fibers, yes.
Blended DK.
Bay Blend.
DK. Guys, get your hands on this yarn. It is. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Nightshades and the Daylights. This stuff is gorgeous too. So get yourself some of that. So this knit up really fast. I think it's taken me less than a month because it wasn't on the needles a month ago.
I do think Stitch Source sells that yarn.
Well, funny you should say that because I did lengthen this sweater. So hold it up a little bit.
So
if we're going to put a picture of the original design in here somewhere, it's very cropped on the model, and she's very cute. 20 something. And so I think I added a good 3 inches.
I'm a grown-ass woman. I want a whole sweater.
I don't like a little draft up my backside. So I got to the ribbing, and I think I had, like, it calls for 2.5 inches of ribbing, and I think I had like an inch to go, and I ran out of yarn. But I did go over to Stitch Source. That's another local yarn shop here in Rhode Island. They're in Barrington. And they have that yarn, and so I went and bought another skein just to do this. But
that's awesome, though.
But I'll use that yarn. Like, that yarn won't go bad.
And so they were obviously different dye lots, and you can't tell.
No, all 3 batches of the yarn. So I had the 2 skeins from Rhinebeck, the 2 skeins that were in my stash that were left over from another project, and this 3rd one. And I didn't do any blending. I said, the hell with it. I just knit it, and you can't tell at all.
No.
And I think it's because, although it's the colors are because they're spun, right? The blue and the black are spun together. It's before it's they're not dyeing that yarn after the fact.
Right.
After it's spun.
And then nightshades, if anybody doesn't know, they have nightshades and daylight. Yes.
Nighttime. I don't know.
I know, we call it daytime, nighttime. It seems to be easier, but I think it's daylights and nightshades. And if you can, it's like the nightshades is a black yarn, and it's got like different colors spun together. So this is the blue one. But
there's actually a few. They have a dark blue and a light blue, and this is the medium blue.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of got a blue haze to it because of the way
like
it's spun
green
together.
and yellow and red
and pink.
So and then the same with the daylight is a white base with the different colors.
Yeah.
Sort of, spun into it.
It's formal, and it blocks amazing. So the only thing happening with this sweater that might get changed is, one, now that I have a whole extra skein of yarn, I might make the sleeves just a tad longer. We'll see as I wear it. I mean, it comes bracelet length, which I usually look at me cuffing things, right? So
yeah, I like bracelet length.
We'll see how I feel about it when I'm wearing it, but I can always add a little bit of length there. And I was a little worried about, before it was blocked, I was a little worried about how the neckline was falling. But blocking, I think, kind of took care of my concern. It was just kind of wonky when it came off the needles.
Yeah, when you tried it on the other night, it looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll try to get a finished project photo going on.
Yeah, and wear it maybe a few times and see if it bothers you, if you're comfortable with it. And
But it's, it's back to, so when you make this sweater, you actually, you cast on here below the ribbing, and you do the ribbing at the end. So you knit the colorwork yoke first, and then you go back and pick up stitches and knit up. So it's going to be super easy to, if I decide I want to undo it and like shorten it or lengthen it. And if you look at the project pages on Ravelry, which we did the other night, lots of people did lots of different things. They made it longer, they did a fold over, they did just like a 1/2 inch, so it's more of a boat neck situation. So really fun to knit. Highly recommend. I'm going to wear the heck out of this.
Before we get into your rockiness, we can talk about that, right?
Yeah.
I'll just show my last thing, which is, I talked about this sweater in the last episode, and I finished it.
Oh, it's so pretty.
And this is my 010.
I want to move your drink. That's depth definition. Ugh.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
010 cabled sweater by Lisa Richardson. And it's a Rowan pattern. And the yarn that I used is called Creative Linen, which I do believe in the last episode I was calling it cotton linen.
Oh.
But it's called Creative Linen.
That was a darn it.
That was a darn it that I forgot about. But it is 50% cotton, 50% linen. So, and actually, I'm not a fan of like knitting with cotton yarn or linen yarn, but this yarn was really easy to knit with. It didn't hurt my hands at all. It's really comfortable. I made this for my daughter, my youngest daughter, Olivia. She's got some sensitivities with her skin, so she's not really a candidate for wool sweaters. And so I thought this would be perfect for her, and she actually picked it out. So I think she'll really like it. And
It's beautiful.
came out nice, and I will say it is seamed. You knit the sweater in pieces and then you sew it all together, which
again with the finishing work, right? But when you seam a
Yes.
sweater, it's just gonna give
Especially
it a
a
structure.
cotton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Linen,
this sweater is actually very
Kinda heavy,
heavy.
yeah.
Yeah, it looks
So
like it.
I can understand. I do think that that's a reason why it probably is seamed, and it probably needs the structure of the
Yeah.
seams.
Otherwise it's just
or
gonna-
else it's just
gonna
gonna
sag.
like
It's gonna
sag and
Yeah.
and stretch out.
So nice.
But it is a little bit if you're, it's not hard. Seaming's not hard. It's just
It's boring.
and it's a little tedious, I will say. So, anyways,
I am,
it's
like,
done.
Obsessed with this little cable. This cable right here. Like, it just pops right off.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And the only thing I did differently was on the sleeve. They tell you to, when you're increasing, is to continue with the cable pattern. And I didn't do that. I just continued with the reverse stockinette stitch because I didn't feel like there was going to be
Yeah,
enough
for sure.
stitches to make a complete cable. So I thought it would just be, honestly, I thought it would just make it more difficult when the seaming process came to be. So
You're the boss.
You're the boss. You're knitting.
I'm the boss of my knitting.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. She's gonna wear that forever.
For the
so I
record,
think
she's
so,
the
like-
boss of my knitting too, which we'll talk about. That's not true. I make a lot of my own choices. Before we talk about my sweater project, though, can I show off something that I did finish that is not a Christmas
Yes.
present?
Yes, please.
It's not knitting, but I'm going to show it off anyway because everything I'm working on is for holiday presents right now. So I can't really show anything except holiday presents I made that won't fit that I'm keeping. This one would have fit, but I decided to keep it anyway because I'm very proud of it. So I think I mentioned last time that I am branching out and I'm working on being a sewist and I'm weaving and things like that. So I quilted myself a Christmas table runner. And I'm super proud of it.
It's really
because
pretty.
I'm really new at this kind of thing. So I made this table runner.
It's so pretty.
All Christmas fabrics. I sewed it. I quilted it. Can we flip it over, Jen?
Yep.
So a really fun pattern on the back, and then I bound it, and I'm really proud of it because it's not.
And you did a great job.
So,
gorgeous.
so I kept this. It's on my dining room table. So that's the one thing I can talk about that I finished, but I'm super proud of it. And I'll be honest, this was going to be a gift for somebody, but I loved it so much I decided to keep it.
You know what? Sometimes you bond with your project.
Well, in all of my sewing I've been doing, I give it away. I had very little that I've sewn myself. So, so that's my thing that I'm.
It's so
that's
cute.
my.
I love the fabrics. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's really happy. So, so I'm really pleased with that. So, grid lines talk.
Grid lines talk.
Ready? Grid lines talk. Okay. So,
A little recap from last time.
So yes, last time, if you were here, you know that I had knit grid lines furiously trying to get it done in time for Rhinebeck. And the weekend before, when I was nearly done, I realized I had knit extra rows in the front of one half of it. And we talked about whether I was going to rip it and reknit it, or if I should try, feeding some lifelines in, cutting out the offending rows and grafting it back together. And thanks to everybody who chimed in on the YouTube who said, you should try grafting it. It won't be a big deal. And we had all agreed the worst that happens is it doesn't work and I rip it out and reknit it anyway, right? So I did do that. I did get some lifelines in. I did cut out the
insert
extra
some pictures
16
here.
rolls. Well, and I took video of all of it. So,
I'll put the video in maybe at the end.
well, I think we can
Or-
just throw it up as like a companion video. Nobody,
Okay.
and so if
Okay.
people want to see it, and I will say that if you go watch that video, remember that it's a how I did it. It's not a how-to video. So I didn't do it. So it's
not a
what I
tutorial.
did. It's not a tutorial. It is learn from my experience. So anyway, so here we are. I did get lifelines in. Where's the top? I did cut it. It is now a cardigan, which would be a way to go.
Yeah,
I could just add some button
right. There you go.
That's not a terrible idea.
It's not,
Terrible idea. I just had it. This could be a cardigan.
it would be a little bit off center though, right?
Well, I could just knit these. I could knit the rows, make it a button band, and call it a day.
That has merit.
Anyway, so let's talk about this, and this is going to be not just straight knitting talk because there's some therapy in here.
Okay.
Okay, like.
Right.
And so welcome to our knit night where we talk about our knitting and then our
mental
feelings
health as
and
well.
our mental health. So I did this, and part of my indecision on how I was going to do it was really discomfort with not knowing what all of the steps were from. I knew how to put in a lifeline. I knew, but like, I didn't know if I had the skills to be able to graft it back together. So I had to do some research on that. And there was a part of me that wasn't sure I was in a place to learn all of the new things I was going to need to be able to do it. But I know how to rip something out and reknit it. So there was part of me that like, it was the longer process, but I knew that, but more comfortable. And, you made a comment earlier this hour of, like being a lazy knitter. And like, we talked about this a little bit, like, but we're not lazy knitters, but, so, and,
pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, though, it takes effort.
It does. It takes, and also,
you like to knit.
I like to knit, and I like things to be done right. And so, I've had a little bit of a debate of, am I patching it or am I making it right? Like, what am I doing here? So that's been a conversation I've had with myself. And honestly, so I'm in therapy, as everybody should be. And my therapist likes to talk about emotional playgrounds. So what do I do? Where do I go? What's my emotional playground where I feel confident, where I feel happy, and where I can relax? And knitting is an emotional playground for me. Okay. So this was like going to my emotional playground, and there was kind of like somebody I didn't know who was a little bit mean and know-it-all.
It was a bully on the emotional playground.
Being the sweater.
It was not
Jen. It was not you. But I was like, no, but I can figure this out. I am smart.
You can do it. Just cut.
Yeah. But like, and I went into this really confident that I could figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So, but I did struggle with it. But anyway, so I did all of that. You'll see the videos. There's, we have some pictures for Instagram. That being said, we pulled this out at our knit night on Thursday night because I need some guidance. I've grafted part of it together a couple of times. My stitches aren't lining up. So with grid lines, one of the things that it has, if you can see this, is there is going across rows of slipped stitches. So we have the garter ridge that comes up this way, but then slip stitches this way. You knit this way.
You knit side to side.
Exactly.
That's important.
So that's important. So when I cut it out, I didn't give enough thought, I think, to the slipped stitches.
Right. Maybe.
So,
yeah. That might be.
So part of what has happened, and I don't know how to explain this, but when I ripped out, and everything's on the needle, I have the right number of stitches, but there's something going on, I'll take this, there's something going on with the slipped stitches that they're not lining up with the other side. And I ripped out what I call the past, right? And all I have left is the future. So I can't read where I came from, all I can see is where I'm going. And the grafting isn't working. And I've done it a couple of times and I've taken it out, and I've gotten to the point that I think I don't know enough to graft it.
Right.
I also don't think that I have the patience to try to figure it out. I'm afraid that if I put this down to figure it out, this is going to be my hat from January 15th of 2022. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
So where I know I could rip it out and reknit it in a week, especially like between Christmas and New Year's. Also, I can't keep trying to work on the fabric that I have without damaging the yarn. It's not standing up to
keep pulling it out.
Rip, graft, rip, graft, rip. And it's right here in the sweater.
Right at the front. It's not like underneath the arm or someplace where it wouldn't maybe be as noticeable if you didn't get it exactly right.
Exactly. And because I want to enjoy the process and I want to enjoy wearing this sweater, I have decided, I gave it a try. I really did try.
You did.
And
we did try. We even looked. We looked at it on Thursday. The three of us have
looked at it, and we're like, maybe this, and it was too much. Maybe for me.
We need Patty Lyons.
Patty Lyons, where are you? If you're here, help. And actually, I pulled out her knitting bag of tricks book that I have, hoping there would be something in there. And there was actually really helpful information in there. So I don't know if you guys have seen that book.
I don't have
it's a
it.
great
I've heard
book.
of it, but I don't have it.
But I will say, so but I did learn things, right? Like you'll see if you watch the video that like I put markers in to mark the row to make it easier for me picking up I got my needles in, I cut it out, like I did all of that. It was great. The Kitchener stitch in the garter stitch, I now know how to do, which I didn't know before because I always only Kitchener socks.
Right.
So I know how to do it for stockinette. But Edie Ekman has a fantastic video on how to do it on YouTube. So we've got the link for that we'll put up in our notes. So if you are curious about grafting and anything other than stockinette, there's information out there for it. I think that's great. But at this point, it's either... I'm going to explore this cardigan idea for a minute. Not with you guys. I'll let you know what I decide. But that's where we are. So grid lines is closer to done, but I just couldn't. The grafting, the slip stitch was one thing too much.
I did have some concerns about that when we were talking about it, and I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was sort of saying, okay, I know there's garter stitch that is going to be different than the grafting of the stockinette part. And I wonder how the slip stitches are going to be. Like I didn't know that myself. Like how do we graft a slip stitch? And it seems like it would be the same as stockinette because it's just a knit stitch that you carried forward from the row below, but you did slip a stitch underneath there. So what happens to that stitch? Yeah.
And as we were looking at it, there's 10 stitches in a slip stitch. There's something going on with the 10th stitch next to the slip stitch, and I can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, and I think it has something to do with that stitch that you probably, when you were doing it, slipped it and then carried
But as I try to undo it, I can't unknit because... I only have future stitches.
I think you really do need, instead of 10 stitches between the squares, you actually need 11 stitches between the square because you need that slip stitch that was underneath the... Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways. That's where we are with grid lines. I hope I can get it finished by the next podcast. But I was talking to Polly from our group about this and how... So I have alluded several times, it's handmade Christmas around here. So I am trying to use every available minute for making things. And I lost all of last weekend to this.
Yeah.
And so there was added pressure of lost sewing time for Christmas gifts and knitted Christmas gifts and things like that, which this was important for time for me and all of that. But I was talking to Polly about it and she's like, yeah, you just don't have a lot of bubble wrap right now. Because, and I liked that idea of I don't have a lot of padding around me for just playing with this kind of thing. Right
now.
I have a list longer than the month.
That's deadline stuff.
So,
yes.
So anyway, so that's where we are with grid lines. It will get finished.
Good try though, Beck. Really.
And it's a funny video, I think. As I kind of struggle through it, and we're gonna. Mark has offered to try to edit that one together for you, Jen, because I have 17 little videos.
Nice.
Because it was hours, and nobody's gonna watch me futz with my sweater for hours. Anyway, so that's where I am. And
good try.
Thank you for my therapy session. I want to enjoy the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like Jen always says, you're the boss of your knitting, so.
Right, I am.
Yes.
So
I think you should do
there was a point at which I was like, great, now all of the internet can see me fail. There's been a lot in this, but so
knitting's never a failure.
But you learn stuff in the process.
I did.
And I think that's the thing to remember, right? Is when you take a chance, you learn. There's something to be gained even if the product isn't necessarily successful, right?
Exactly. It was a good process. And it was, I did. And it was fun to figure out how to set up the video to be able to, my iPad that we do this on is on a Kindle stand. And to get that rigged up in my dining room. And, it felt very professional. Learned a lot about that. Learned a lot of knitting things. So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's my story.
Nice.
It's all good.
All right, one last thing that I forgot to mention, but I did talk about it in the last episode, so I'll bring everybody up to date. My Sophie shawl, this is my Christmas knitting, and the reason that I knit two hats in between is because this is boring as all heck. But I did put a marker in of where I was last time, and this is how much I've knit since our last video, which is about a month ago. which really for a month of knitting.
Pretty good
But I've
progress.
done some other things. Anyways, I'm making this for my daughter-in-law, Julie, and it will be done by Christmas. I'm holding a strand of our yarn story opus and a yarn story fluff, and I'm holding it together, and the fabric is
Oh, that's like butter.
really, really nice.
Like butter.
Like butter, yeah.
She's gonna love wearing that.
Yeah.
Yes. So the shawl, I think the finished product will be worth it. But it is garter stitch. And it's...
I love me some garter stitch.
I do too.
Yeah. It's super boring. That's all
I
I'm
know,
going
but
to say.
don't you have to? You
You
gotta
know how
have.
many books I'd get read?
Yep. I was gonna say brainless
I
reading
know.
is good,
I'm
right?
trying to right. So funny you should say that. So I do have a book on my Kindle, and I've been trying to read that. I've also been listening to a book. I literally have been listening to a book and knitting this and fallen asleep. Like seriously, like to the point where now I have to back up in my audiobook because I'm like, okay, I don't know where I am on this.
You need a better book.
Yeah, maybe.
So don't say what
Maybe
you're
that's
reading.
it.
We don't
I
want to
won't.
throw anybody
no,
under
no,
a
no,
bus.
no, yeah. No.
pretty
The
funny.
book is good. Actually, I have a really good book that you guys would like.
What is
which I'll
it?
mention. Well, and the only reason I say that you like it is because it's literally soft porn.
I didn't see that coming.
I feel like it's like you guys would like it. But I was like walking the dog sometimes and I'm listening to this audiobook and I'm thinking,
Now you know stuff about us.
okay, already. Because
Wow, Jen.
Didn't see that in the show notes.
when you're reading that, you can like just kind of skim, right? Okay,
You can't
all right,
when you're
all right.
listening to
But
it,
you
though.
can't when you're listening to it. You're listening to it. I'm out on with the dog out in the neighborhood. And I'm like,
Okay, so there
can we
is-
just get through this part? Jeez.
There is a fast forward button on an audiobook. It's a little circle that's 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 seconds.
Hey, I didn't say I wasn't like half enjoying it.
Oh, the truth is out.
Yes. Now, am I going to remember the name of the book? That's a good question. It is called. It's escaping me. Anyways, I'll try to remember. Bring it up next time.
We'll put it in Darn It next time.
Yeah, we'll put it in Darn It next
update it.
time.
All right.
In case you need some
Guys, this
spicy
has been
reading.
super fun.
It is really fun.
Yeah, this is fun. I hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe. Is that what
Comment.
we're supposed to say?
Instagram,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
share it with a friend.
And,
Yeah, comment. Yeah, make
yeah.
some comments. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. I mean, even, be nice, be
How
kind.
spicy do you like your books? We want to know.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
spicy.
How spicy do you like your books?
And drop
Because,
some
yeah.
recs. I'm always looking for good books.
Some good recommendations, sure.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in my holiday rom-com era.
Yeah.
Like I like December. We said at the top, I'm all about Christmas.
She is.
So I'm listening almost exclusively to holiday rom-coms. They have been 0 chili peppers so far, but very sweet.
Sweet.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Great.
I hope you all have happy holidays and a happy
Yes,
new year.
yes.
We'll see you early in 2026, and maybe we'll talk about some knitting resolutions.
Yes, knitting resolutions. And yeah, think about that. Do you have knitting resolutions? Do you keep your knitting resolutions? And if you have them, what are they? Because I'm a little bit all about resolutions that I do not keep.
Yeah, you're all about resolutions,
I'm all
not
about
keeping them.
making knitting resolutions, and not keeping them. So I'd
right.
love to hear your
yes.
comments about that.
All right. Well, thanks. Happy
Thanks.
holidays. We'll see you in
Happy holidays.
2026.
Yes.
Cheers.
See you next year.
See you next year.